Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and today we're going to sow some sweet pea. Now, even if you sow no other seeds this year, or even if you've never sown seeds at all in your life, you should try sweet pea. They're just so easy, you're bound to succeed. Well, it's a perfect time to sow sweet pea now. You can do any time between December and March, April even. And just to tell you that sweet peas are actually what are known as hardy annuals. They're annuals, they live for just 1 year, no matter what you do. And they're hardy, which means you can sow them now when it's still quite cold. And I had a wonderful surprise last summer when I had a visit during my open day. On my open day, Mairead, who I've met from YouTube, turned up, and it was really wonderful to meet her. But she brought me a little surprise, and it was a present of these fantastic sweet pea seeds. And these are really fancy varieties, which I'm just dying to try out. The thing about sweet peas is they're climbers, and the scent is just amazing. And you see that one there? Those colours I associate with the most divine scent imaginable. Now there are darker colours here like this red one, and they tend to be less scented, but I do notice on this particular variety it says that it is scented. So we'll sow them all and we'll see. Right, so I'm going to sow these sweet peas, and the first decision is what pot to put them in. Now you do need to have a pot that gives the sweet pea a long root run, which is why I'm choosing these pots here, and you can see that there's enough of a root run for them there. A lot of people use toilet rolls to sow their sweet peas, and I did that for years, but what I found was that when I went to discard the sweet peas at the end of the summer after they'd finished flowering, when I dug them up, the roots were still contained within the toilet roll. It hadn't biodegraded at all. So, well, that's not good because it was actually constricting the plants. And when you actually go to plant them out, you can't get them out of the toilet rolls because you do have little bits of roots poking through. So I don't use toilet rolls anymore. However, if it's a question of sowing sweet peas in toilet rolls or not sowing sweet peas, please sow the sweet peas in the toilet rolls. So I've put my compost into my pots just to save a little time, and now I'm going to firm it down just like that to make sure that we have a nice even surface for sowing. The compost I use is seed compost, and it's quite fine, which I find good for sowing seeds. I'm going to sow this one first because, oh, it's lovely. I love the look of it. I can't wait to get these flowers coming up. It will be wonderful. And here is the little packet, which I've kept in an airtight container in the fridge since Mairead gave them to me last summer. Very important to keep seeds at the right temperature. And here we go. I'm emptying these seeds out into my hand. Nice and firm, they don't look dehydrated at all. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 5 seeds per pot. So I'm just going to lay these on the surface there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once that's done, then what I'm going to do is cover the seeds a bit. And you can see that these seeds are quite large, which means that they do need a bit of a cover on top. Some people put a layer of compost on top, but I use grit. And here we have some grit that I'm just putting on top. Now you can use vermiculite, and the advantage of both vermiculite and grit is that, oh, there's a nice wiggly worm. He's very good for the soil. We won't do anything bad to him. Thank you, cameraman. And so continuing to put the grit on top, and grit or vermiculite will stop mosses and things like that growing on top. And the good thing about the grit is that it kind of weights the pot a bit, so it becomes a bit heavy and it stops it getting accidentally knocked over when you tuck this in a corner for winter. So that's the first of my sweet pea sown, and now the next thing is where to put them. Now I'm going to place these sweet peas in the coldest corner of my greenhouse. Remembering that my greenhouse is frost free, I do have a heater in there, so I'll tuck this away in the coldest corner. But if you don't have a greenhouse, don't worry, you can still sow sweet peas. Just put them somewhere outdoors where they're protected so that they don't get rain coming in and rotting them. And they'll be grand, they'll pop up for you in spring. Now what I'm going to do is to water these sweet peas once with a fine rose. And you can see I've turned the nozzle on the watering can this way up. It just stops them getting, well, that's not the best, but so it goes. Okay, so water them once, and then with so much ambient humidity in here in the greenhouse, or outdoors if you keep them outdoors, you're not going to need to water them again until you see the shoots emerging. There's a wonderful feeling after you've sowed your first seeds of spring. I can't describe it really. It's like auguring in the new year, and I just love it to bits. So what to do with these sweet pea? Well, when the shoots start coming up, then make sure that they're watered properly. Keep an eye on them. And when you get to about 3 or 4 pairs of leaves, you may want to pinch out the growing tip just to make the plant bush up. Plant them out in your garden after danger of frost has passed, so March perhaps, because they are hardy annuals. And make sure that they get good compost, good feed and a support so that they can climb up and bring you great joy all summer. Do plant some sweet peas now or in a month's time, and you're bound to have the most gorgeous fragrant bouquets all summer. That's all for now. Thanks very much for watching. Bye now.